Good morning, everybody, or afternoon, or whatever time it is when you start watching this. Today we are going to be talking about lesson 1.4. So lesson 1.4 deals with exponents, so properties of exponents. So we are going to go through examples 1 through 3, and then I will give you your homework assignment. Example 1 is on page 28. So lesson 1.4, page 28. So the first example that we are given is dealing with the property of exponents when we have a 0 or a negative. So example 1, 0 or negative exponent. So letter A says 6.7 to the 0th power. When we have an exponent of 0, so if our exponent is 0, it doesn't matter what the base is. So this number down here is called the base. It doesn't matter what the base is. If the exponent is 0, the answer will always be 1. Any number to the 0th power equals 1. So, for instance, say we had a to the x power. A is called our base. So that's our base. X, of course, is the exponent. If we have any number to the 0th power, our answer is 1. So if our exponent is 0, our base will equal 1. If our exponent is 0, our base will equal 1. Okay, so part B for this example. Now we have a negative base. So now we're taking -2, and it is to the power of -4. I'm going to change that because that's ridiculous to give you for your first time. Okay, so let's say we have +2. And it is to the exponent of -4. Whenever we have a negative exponent, so don't fear, if our exponent is negative, just think of this as a fraction. So that negative symbol, think of it as the fraction. Like, so if we had 1/2, that negative is just that line in between the two numbers. So think of it as a fraction. If our negative is exponent, we take the reciprocal of the base to the given power, to the given exponent. So if our exponent is negative, we take the reciprocal of the base to the given power. So this would mean, so let's say we have a to the -x. Reciprocal, so to get rid of the negative, reciprocal just means you take and flip the fraction. So then this would equal 1/a, but the whole thing is still to the x power. So now we have 1 to any power is just 1. So we have 1/a to the x power. And now the negative is gone. So I forgot to write the answer for this one. The answer for this one would be 1. The answer for B then would be To get rid of the negative, we'd write it as 1 over 2, and that whole thing is to the 4th power. So you could write that as 1 over 2 to the 4th. If you have questions on this, please feel free to ask. I will Zoom at 11 o'clock to help anybody out. Example 2. Example 2. Example 2 is simplifying an expression. So simplifying an expression. Simplifying it. Wow, that is terrible handwriting. I'm sorry. Simplifying an expression. Simplify the expression 4 times x to the 0th power over y to the negative 3rd power. Write your answer using only positive exponents. So the hang up here is we have a negative exponent. If we go to simplify using only positive exponents, pardon me, that means that we have some work to do, I guess. So I would say start by simplifying what you have on the top. Simplify one thing at a time. Don't overwhelm yourself. So we know x to the 0th power, any number to the 0th power equals 1. So we end up with 4 times 1. Any number, so I could substitute out that x for a 1. And then we still have that over y to the negative 3. So now I want to deal with this whole having the negative in the bottom of the fraction. It doesn't mean I take the reciprocal of the whole thing. It only means I take the reciprocal of what the exponent is attached to. So it might help to split up this fraction. This fraction, sorry, 4 times 1 is 1, so I'm just simplifying that to 4. If we simplify the fraction, we could write it as 4 over 1 times 1 over y to the negative 3. You are allowed to pull these apart because they're attached by multiplication. So notice if we multiplied straight across, we'd get 4 on the top. 4 times 1 is 4. And on the bottom, we'd have 1 times y to the negative 3. So we'd end up with 4 over y to the negative 3rd. So we're allowed to do this. With it simplified like this, I would then suggest looking at your negative exponent. So 4 over 1 just simplifies to 4. And then to get rid of this negative exponent, just to get rid of the negative, you take the reciprocal. So now we can take the reciprocal of 1 over y, which is just y over 1, or you could write just y. So if you choose to write it as y over 1, that's fine. So then remember you have that 3 that's still attached to the y. So we have to make sure that we keep that cubed there. Okay, so then from here, any number over 1 is just that number. So our answer should be 4y cubed. So these should kind of be a little bit of review. And yeah, because we kind of went over them last year. So I want you guys to do problems 1 through 4 on this page as part of your homework. So I'll write it at the bottom, but 1 through 4 follow after example 2 in the book. So then the last example we are going to go over today is example 3. So example 3 is using properties of exponents. So using properties of exponents. Using properties of exponents. Simplify each expression. Write your answer using only positive exponents. Okay, that's fine. So there's 3 different parts that we are going to look at for this example. The first one is 3 squared times 3 to the 6th. So one of the properties that we haven't talked about yet is when we have the same base number. So our base value is 3. If we have the same base and it's attached by multiplication, we can add our exponents. So in this case, we would add our exponents. If I'm going to write this up here, because the base is the same, add our exponents. That makes more sense. So then we would say we have 3 to the 2 plus 6th, which equals 3 to the 8th. So that's our answer, 3 to the 8th. You could put that in a calculator and get the answer if you want to, but you can just leave it as 3 to the 8th also. That's fine. B, so part B, we have -4 over -4, and the -4 on the top is to the 2nd power, while the -4 on the bottom is to the 7th power. And the negative is attached before we square and 7th it, so we have parentheses there. So now we use the quotient property for exponents. The quotient property of the exponent says because our base is the same, so because base is the same, we subtract our exponents. Because the base is the same, subtract our exponents. So I like to say you take wherever it's larger, take wherever the number is larger, and subtract the smaller exponent from it. So if we are moving this down, so -4 squared over -4 to the 7th, if we're moving this down, it's going to get replaced with a 1. So all we're doing is shifting this down here, and it's going to get replaced with a 1. So we have 1 over, in parentheses, -4 to the 7 minus 2. So then from here, we can do that subtraction, and we get 1 over -4 to the 5th power. So again, you could plug it into a calculator and get an answer, but you definitely do not have to. C, for C we have, in parentheses, z to the 4th power, and then that is to the 3rd power. So when we have exponents that are split by a parenthesis, we multiply. So if they're split by multiplication, you add. If they are split by a parenthesis, you multiply. So it's saying it's an exponent to the exponent. So we multiply. And they want us to use only positive exponents. So notice we have a negative exponent right there. We'll deal with that at the end. So I would suggest multiplying first. So multiply, and we get z to the -12. So now this should be just cut and dry. To get rid of that negative, you just take the reciprocal of z. The reciprocal of z is just 1 over z. And then that's just to the 12th power. You could say the 1 is to the 12th power also, but it just ends up being 1. So it shouldn't matter. Okay, so that's it for the video. For your homework, I want you to do from page 28, numbers 1 through 4. And then from page 29, numbers 5 through, I think, 10. Yeah, 5 through 10. So again, if you have questions, there's going to be a Zoom at 11, so hopefully you watch this video before then. But if not, that's okay. And it's unfortunate that we don't get to see each other this week because school's still closed, but, you know, hopefully it opens back up on next week. Bye.